Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel here. It's the Mac. And welcome back to something else, something new. This is the Great Northern War, as I showcased before on the channel. But in this video, I'm going to be presenting something of a preview of what's coming up from Wargame Design Studios regarding the Great Northern War. And I guess the whole library or all the titles on the Musket and Pike series that they have going. So I got to tell you, what's going to be coming up soon is a major update for this particular game. This is what I got my preview material for. But this particular game, they're going to crank it up from the 403.1 to the 404 version. It's going to be the latest version of the game, and they have made some huge upgrades, and we're going to go through them. I'm going to show you what's going to be coming up. It's going to be sort of a teaser for what you are about to get as a new update for this game. It's some pretty interesting stuff, actually. So they will probably release like you will probably have to download the game, because it's not going to be a patch, I think, because the changes are so big that they probably want you to download like the complete file again and install it under the 404 version. So it would be too many things in a patch. It would be probably too many variables for it to bug out or something. Anyway, right, so there in this new package, first I want to have a check. We're going to have to look at what's going to be happening here. So we have the Great Northern War 404 change logs. So what are they planning to do here? And what's going to be happening? They're going to have some enhancements. So there's going to be even more refinements to the AI, handling routines, tactical decisions, and processes, etc. And we love it, because there's so many topics and things on forums about the AI, how smart it is, and that they should work on it better. But they seem to be doing this a lot. They're working a lot to get the AI really smart and good and challenging for people. Even though these games, as I've said many times before, are best played versus human opponent. But of course, you can't make that demand on anyone. I mean, the gaming industry is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of solo games out there, so you should be able to play it versus the computer, of course. But it does take a lot of work to program a very hard and skillful AI. Not that I know anything about it, but this is what I think it would be. Anyway, there's an addition. Selecting info leader casualties will display the reason: wounded, killed, or captured in the hex. That's cool. So now you can see if your leader has been captured, wounded, or killed. That's pretty cool. They added the ability for most dialog boxes to be resized. Parameter data window can now remain open while gameplay continues. Okay, so that's cool. I usually close that parameter data, but some people like to have it open to refer, when they're looking at terrain and moving their units around, or stacking limitations and stuff. Weather effects, road movements, etc., etc. So you could keep that window in your screen to easily sort of check the values and numbers and stuff. So I think that's cool for those people that like that. So they added the ability to reset all game settings to original defaults through settings, clear settings menu option. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Reset all game settings. So that would be if you sort of want to go back to at the default, how the game was actually, when you bought default after you've been fiddling around a lot with the settings and you can't get it back. So there is a clear setting for that. That's good. They adjusted the find leader or unit function to no longer be case sensitive. Default button is now search instead of OK. Okay. So that is that. I think I've showcased that on some of my older videos when you're looking for formations and stuff. So that's been improved. The background sound and music can now play simultaneously. That's good. I don't think there's actually any music in the Great Northern War. But if you go back to like Renaissance, there is music. But I don't think there's any music in this. I couldn't actually get it to work, but maybe I'm actually having a beta release, so that it doesn't have all the functions that's going to be released in the 404, but almost everything. So they have fixed some bugs. So the fix for AI routine, preventing units from deploying properly. So that's another AI fix there. They have updated the documentation, they have updated the main file, and they've included the first expansion package, adding in 20 new scenarios. So that's what I want to talk about. They've added, this is like, it would be like a battle pack or like a scenario add-on to this game. So there's 20 new scenarios. So if you remember when this game was released, it's not that long ago actually, I think there was like 68 or 69 scenarios, I'm not sure. So we're coming up to a lot of scenarios now. So the 403 changes was very extensive, as you remember. Huge upgrade from the 402 there. But now it's going to be the 404, and this is probably the most interesting for many people, and of course the improvement of the AI. So let's have a look here. Yeah, let's actually have a look at the nodes first. So there's a new, this is the old one, as you people probably know who owns the game, or this is like the default historical nodes that comes with the game. I don't think this one is particularly changed. I think this one's actually the same. I can't say for sure, but I have read it a couple of times when playing the main game. But this is what's basically, there's like two files now. It's called SW notes. And you can see the layout's a bit different. And it says, unfortunately, the Scania War is too small to justify in the full Wargame Design Studio game. So we have piggybacked the game into a Great Northern War game engine and graphics. So those 20 new scenarios, man, they're mostly concerning the Scania War. And this is like a prelude to what we see in the Great Northern War, because there was a big war before that. The Great Northern War is like mostly concerning, King Gustav XII, King Gustavus XII, when he was the warrior king that everybody knows about, the 18-year-old guy, king that was, successful in his wars against the Russians and in Europe as well when he was fighting there, the Germans and all that, and the Polish War. So, but the Scania War is actually his father. So it's King Gustav the 11th. And before him, it was actually King Gustav X. And this war here, the Scania War it's called, it's actually called Skånekriget in Swedish, but it was mostly fought on the southern province of Sweden called Skåne. So the Danes really wanted that to remain in there. Actually in 1658, the Skåne actually became a Swedish territory again after many years of occupation from the Danish, and the wars go back to like the 12th century, 13th century. There is where the Danish first started to actually invade Sweden a lot. So we were in war for hundreds of years. Anyways, so 1658, King Gustav X, he took it back. And there was like a sign. It was like a treaty, and he actually marked. It's a famous in history in Swedish because he moved his whole army over the frozen sea. That winter, the sea had frozen, and he managed to march over a whole army and laid siege to Copenhagen, and the Danish surrendered. So it's a pretty extraordinary story, actually. It's amazing that a whole army was moved across a frozen sea. But that's a different story. That is not covered in this. This covers, because after that, 1658, the Danish attacked us again. So that is the Scania War. So King Christian V, the Danish king, attacked, and then it was actually King Gustav the 11th that was king of Sweden. And then, as I said, the Great Northern War is King Gustav the 12th, and he was like the really famous warrior king there. So I hope that made some sense. There's a lot of history there. But what's cool about Scania War is that there's some really famous battles there, man, and it's all included in the in these 20 new scenarios. There's lots of cool stuff, so we're going to go through it here. So known graphical issues. All right, the unit images have tricorns and not floppy brimmed hats that would have been worn. Yeah, so they have sort of made up fixed some of the images in the game. They have new 3D images, so that's, if you like playing 3D, they have some new ones there. Lots of stuff. Yeah, we're going to go into that. So this is partly what I said. It says this is war that pretty much shaped the boundaries of what are modern Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. Had the Swedes lost, most of southern Sweden could have remained Danish, and Jämtland could have been Norwegian. Yeah, so it could have. This was like a breaking point. I mean, big, era for Sweden to get that, what actually Sweden looks like today. If they had lost these wars, Sweden would probably very definitely not be the way it is today. So it was kind of, very important wars. So the Norwegians did well against the Swedes. Unfortunately for the Danes, despite being very capable troops, they were rather unlucky in the battles there. The Swedish and Danish kings were brave, headstrong, and rash and aggressive, often having to be reined in by its advisors. So both the kings of this time they were like warrior kings, man. They were riding in the front, and they were charging, and they were like in the thick of the battles and stuff. So it was a different kind of war era here. So there they go into that Scania War. So it wasn't until 1675. So you remember I said 1658 was when we actually got back many of the Swedish territories from the Danish, and it was that famous when they marched across the frozen sea. So this is they attacked again. And in the start, it was actually going pretty good for the Danish. They and the Norwegians were trying to backstab us as well, but it sort of made a rash turn at the Battle of Lund. That is like a really, really famous battle in Swedish history. So that was a bloody affair. Yeah. So they also have this. The Battle of Färbeling. So the French were involved as well, and I think the French was actually allied with Sweden at the time, and they wanted Sweden to go into Brandenburg, I think it was, and sort of help the French in their fight, But I think it was like a failure for the Swedish. It didn't work out as well. They sort of half-heartedly sent some troops there, and they were like massacred, and it didn't go so well. But they have that included here, the Battle of Färbeling. And so then they have the historical version of it, and what-if scenarios of it. Then they have this is kind of a famous battle too, the Battle of Halmstad-Fyllebro. And so this was early in August. Major General Jacob Duncan, a Scot in the service of Denmark, was sent north. So this is the beginning of the invasion here. So this turned out pretty bad for the Danish. I think they lost this battle. Despite Danish infantry resistance, the battle was over within an hour and a comprehensive defeat of the Danes. Yeah, this is when the Swedes actually managed to fight back. And they have different versions of it, what ifs and stuff. But this is like this is the main event right here, the Battle of Lund, 4th of December 1676. So this was the main showdown of the battle here between the King Charles XI and the Danish king Christian V there. So it was the main battle, and it was a huge battle and huge casualties. It was a massacre. I mean, they were fighting to the death, man. It was, nobody was giving an inch. It was so bloody, and it was, you know, two huge armies in the dead of winter. It was freezing cold. They were suffering, man, from everything, like lack of food, lack of, you know, they had frost bites, and it was starting to spread disease in the camps, especially in the Swedish one. They were in pretty dire straits. And they decided to, let's pack up and march to Lund, and let's try and backstab the Danish army that's camped there. But they were spotted, and they were like followed by the Danish, and the big showdown was close to Lund. We're gonna have a look at the map later on. It's a very interesting battle, actually, and the king played a huge role in it to sway, you know, to get the upper hand in it. So it's all described here, and they have some historical scenarios there. So they have different versions of it depending on. So the first version is when the Swedes just break camp and start moving out. This one is when the Danes became aware of the Swedish movements. This third one is a scenario covers the battle from initial skirmishes from 8 a.m. till dusk. This is the main battle from 9 a.m. until dusk. So there was some initial skirmishes on the left wing. I'm going to go into that. I think, or maybe it was the right wing. I'm not sure. This is the last phase of the battle. So and they have sort of the last, and King Charles the 11th returns, tell you, with his cavalry, man. And there's a big fight there. Then they have the Battle of Landskrona. This is very interesting as well. I actually live in these parts. I live very close to Lund, and I live very close to Landskrona. So this is me. I'm from Skåne myself. I'm from the area where all these battles happened. I even lived in Lund for many years. But this here is very interesting. I don't actually know a lot about this battle, but it's here, and I am determined to learn a lot about it, because I've been to this city many times, and so very interesting. I'm gonna maybe cover that in some Let's Play or something. It'll be very interesting. So they have another version of it, and that's it. So these are sort of supplementary notes for this new update. I'm not sure if they're going to put this in this one, or it's always going to be like two different files. It probably would be good, because this is sort of an expansion to the Great Northern War there. So let's get into the game here. So you're all familiar with this. I mean, there's no huge changes here, but of course there are changes with the scenario. So I think it starts from scenario 69. And what they have included is actually another version of Humlebæk. This is the first scenario here. That when Gustavus XII attacks Denmark. So they have another version here included, and this one is a what if the Danish had like major reinforcements sent from Copenhagen, and it was like a bigger battle, so it's pretty cool. So they have so from here, from 69 all the way to 88, there are new scenarios. So it's pretty cool, man. So Himmelsdorf. So this wasn't this in the old? Yeah, Himmelsdorf. No, I thought it would be maybe 1702. Okay, so there's some cool stuff here, man. So this is a historical one, yeah. So King Charles XII managed to defend the Swedish positions in the Baltic until the end of 1700. Instead of pursuing and defeating the Russian army to completely destroy it and force his adversary Tsar Peter I to make peace, the king turned to his third adversary, the Saxon Elector King of Poland, Augustus the Strong. Okay, so yeah, this could be new. They have 3 different versions of it. Saladin. Lithuania. So they have added a new battle there. Pretty cool. Very extensive here. I like it. Very extensive text. Fraustadt. Company scale variant. So they have different versions of this. The combined Saxon and Russian force. The Swedes are determined to attack the enemy defensive position. Okay. Fraustadt. Färbelin. Brandenburg. This is part of the 1675 there, yeah. So this is the Great Northern War here, but the Färbelin here we should go with 1675. So this is what I was talking about before with the Brandenburg. They have different versions of it. I think we made Halmstad. Yeah, this is Sweden. And the Battle of Fyllebro. 4 turns, man. Okay, it's pretty small. They have a bigger one here. What if? And another what if. And here's the Battle of Lund. So this would be the main event there. And they have Landskrona here as well. This is very interesting as well. I think the Danish were actually tricked in this fight. And the Swedish were using some pretty good tactics there. All right, so let's open up Lund, man. The main one. So just put a manual there, both. Right. So yeah, pretty big map here, right? So this is just before the Swedish break camp. So here's the Swedish army, Lilla Harje. This Hobby, okay. Håsta, Skälshög, Vadkära, Nöbelöv. Yeah, these are all like some of these. I mean, these are still here. And these small villages still exist. So obviously lots of snow in this map. I don't usually play 3D, as you know, but it looks like they've changed some stuff. It certainly was some of the Danish units were. Get out of here, that thing. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, it looks pretty cool. I like it. As you know, I usually play like this, though. Yeah, so here we go. Here's the king, man. King Charles XI. Boom, he's in charge. So that would be the Swedish army there. So what happened was, if we zoom out, actually we could, in this map we can, no, it's too small, but anyway. Lots of snow, yeah, so it's going to be a white map here. But down here is Lund. Looks so tiny here now. These, yeah, it's actually a fairly sized city these days. Anyway, so what the Swedes did, they actually moved across Kävlinge on here. They moved. It was frozen. It was like ice. They moved down and got down this way here. They were spotted by the Danish when they were like around here, and the Danish sort of turned their wing around and sort of advanced towards the Swedes. And the main battle actually took place right here. All this area here was fought over these heights. There's some heights here that they were initially fighting for to gain control over, for artillery and stuff, and to get the advantage of shooting. And all here, there's a big fight here. And that cavalry wing that met here, the Swedes won that. They pursued them all the way up. They were pursuing them, and they were massacred along the way. And then they sort of try to make a stand, try to retreat over this frozen. It's like a small. Wouldn't even call it a river, but it was like a small river maybe. And many of them soldiers actually fell through the ice and drowned in this, and it was sort of total misery. And but the Danish stayed and fought, and even though the Swedish king had left and the Danish king retreated, he managed to get across, actually, save himself. And then when they have massacred and a lot of those soldiers, their armies remained and fought like crazy down here. And then the Swedish cavalry came down again for the rescue and attacked the Danish. And they were all pushed out and fought. They fought individual battles in these fields and stuff. They were massacred, man. It was a total massacre. I think something like, I think I've heard that about 70% of each army were killed, actually. So I think it was something like 9,000 Danish killed, and about 5,000 Swedish were killed in this. It's a huge slaughter fest, man. So pretty interesting battle to play. And of course, just looking at this, there would be a lot of different... you could play this battle in different ways, you know. You don't have to play it historically. You could have way different outcomes here. The Danish do have the advantage in manpower, though. Their armor is bigger. So you can, for instance, go into strengths, and you can see that, according to this, the Swedish army was only 7,569 men strong, and the Danish was 11,000. I think they had something like 13,000, but they might have taken consideration like sick people and people were left in the camp and stuff. So about 11,000, you know, forces that could fight, and about 7,500 of the Swedes that were like fit for battle, basically. So I just want to see. They said something about that you could. There was like a reset button. That sounded interesting. Was that in the notes? No, yeah, it was in the change log. It said added ability to reset all game settings to original defaults through settings clear settings menu option. So that would be settings clear settings. Okay, settings. There. All right. Are you sure? This will clear all your existing settings and reset the saved position and sizes of all dialog windows. No. All right. So that's cool. They have added that in case you've been like fiddling around and stuff. So the parameter data. Okay. I didn't ever try that before. If that you could actually have this, but now see, I can have that as a window here all the time, and you know, scroll here. What do I need to do there and stuff? Or what does that cost and stuff? So that's pretty cool. That's cool. I like it. Yeah. So this will probably conclude my preview of what's going to be happening on the Great Northern War, man. Lots of cool stuff to look forward to, and all those huge updates. So for you, all you fans of the Musket and Pike series, check it out, man. It's gonna be cool. And these new scenarios, I think, really was a cool job to add, because it adds a lot to the story. Many people don't know the history. You just think of Gustav the 12th. He was like the main man of the hour there. You know, he kicked ass, and he but his father and his father in turn, they were shaping up the settings for Charles the 12th to duke it out and try to increase Sweden to like a major empire. So that's really good, as they have that here of Charles the 11th. All those big fights that happened with the Danish before. So cool. That really nice that they added that, and I like it that they actually did it as a supplement to the game, because it might have been, I would imagine it would be like too thin of a material to use for like a complete game. So it was cool that they made an expansion to the game. So yeah. Enough of me rambling on. I hope you guys have a good idea what's going to be happening to the Great Northern War. It's going to be released fairly soon. So keep a look at the Wargame Design Studios homepage there. And you will receive news about it and get your copy, or if you already have it, download your new 404 version of the game. Yeah, that's going to conclude. So hope you guys have a good Friday night, and I am signing off this video here. So have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.